So these are my credit card records. I highlighted where the purchases were made. You'll note they do have a Lowe's in Bedford. You'll see very few purchases at all there.
So you got the card in June?
Yes, last June. This card is in my name and my name only.
You know, Barb, I think we could listen to the statement better. I mean, this is good to give us all this, but rather than to review it at this point, all of this printed material, I think it'll work better for us to review it when we begin to consult with each other about how we've evaluated everything so far. If that's all right with you?
Sure. Okay, then I have my other personal credit card records. This credit card is shared with my husband. The billing address is 36 Old English Road. I pulled the year-end summaries from 2010 and 2011. So I eradicated, you know, stuff that was not pertinent. Okay, you can see there, you know, the 2010 records are done by category. So you can see travel and entertainment, the restaurants. There's one thing, ladies, that I like to make for dinner, and that's reservations. Okay. So the dates are there. So you can go through them. I'll talk about that. You know, there's just significant automotive where I have my car serviced. All of the times that I buy gas in the area. Again, getting the car serviced. Shopping at the grocery store. This is the newspaper ads that I placed for the involuntary lot merging 2010 election. I did a petition warrant article there. You can see I like to go to the Walmart. Thurston's Marina, Home Goods. These are all my purchases here in and around the town of Guilford. Now, if you were to chart those on a calendar, this is what it would look like for 2010. So this is every time, every day, that I use my credit card here in and around the Lakes region. Kind of hard to make a purchase when you're not here. I would think this would be the most convincing evidence that this is my domicile. And these are only the dates when I used a credit card. These are not the dates when I used cash. The same thing for 2011. You can see the red box DVD rentals say Illinois, but that is just because that's where the credit card goes to. That's where the company is located. But we do like to rent DVDs. Like girls, my kids love movies. So you can take a look at these. Here is the Mox dog that matches the invoices. So you can see this is the billing address of the credit card. That's why nhpropertyrights.com has that address associated with it. Now I will find for you the political donations. There's one of them. It's not a secret. It is a political, is a public record that I am a strong supporter of Dr. Ron Paul. Okay, that is the information that Mr. Wernick presented, saying, look, she made her political contributions in Bedford. It's just the billing address of the credit card. This is the credit card. So I can show that the credit card was indeed charged for those political donations. You can see there's a significant, daily activity here. So again, I charted that for 2011. You can see those are all the days that I was physically here and used my credit card. Kind of hard to do that if this is not your domicile. And again, this is only when I use my credit card, isn't when I use cash.
Can you make a copy of that? Is that yellow sheet?
Yes, I can give you the yellow sheets.
Or the highlighted ones?
Yes.
That doesn't have any of your accounts.
Correct. So here is for 2012. I color coded this one special. This shows the times in 2012. See, I don't have the year-end summary for 2012. When I used my credit card, and then the blue is when I attended a public meeting here in the town of Guilford, which you would see covered in the meeting minutes. Okay? So you can take a look at that. Okay, so the other information that I have for you is, this is not a signed copy, but this is on file with my attorney. This is a attorney listing my domicile and my husband's domicile, where I give him power of attorney. I also have here, I don't have a copy of this, but it is public record. I would like this back. This is my pistol revolver license issued by the chief of police here in the town of Guilford. So chief obviously thinks I live here. These records you may keep. This is the State of New Hampshire 2010 annual report for Future Plus Systems Corporation. As I mentioned, Future Plus Systems is a corporation in good standing with the State of New Hampshire. On these legal records, you will see my address listed as 558 Edgewater Drive. This report was filed in 2010. This report was filed in 2011. This report was filed in 2010, all which have my address. You can't backdate those, by the way. In addition, I have a letter here, an email from... No, you can keep those.
I know, but I'm trying to separate them from the
Sure.
ones that you want to get back.
That's fine. So here is an email from a registered voter here in the town of Guilford, Mr. Horvath, to the supervisors of the checklist. I've had the pleasure of knowing Mrs. Barbara Eichinger for almost 4 years now. All of my associations with her have been in contacts with the town of Guilford. Several occasions I have been invited to her home on Governor's Island in Guilford. I'm pleased to call Mrs. Eichinger a neighbor, a friend, a citizen of Guilford, and a great asset to our town. Sincerely, David Horvath, 28 Timber Lane, Guilford. This is also an email, letter, which I sent to you already, from our state senator, Mr. Jim Forsyth. Mrs. Eichinger, thanks for contacting me regarding the challenge to your residency in Guilford. I must admit, I am very surprised, as I have seen you a lot in Guilford, yet never in Bedford. Please forward this email to whomever is concerned. I apologize I don't have a formal letter, as I was working today and not in the Senate office, but can furnish one if necessary. Anyone may feel free to contact me at 603-822-2588 or jim@jimforsyth.com with questions. For the record, I have known you since sometime in early 2010. During that time, I met you in district at several events, including one regarding shoreline protection, a cruise on the Mount Washington for Belknap County, several events in your home in Guilford. It was my pleasure to work with you as my constituent on a bill dealing with involuntary lot mergers, as well as numerous other bills that you expressed your opinion on. Meanwhile, my colleague from Bedford, Senator White, has potentially never met you, as far as I can tell. It has been clear from all my conversations and working with you that you have always considered your primary residence as Guilford. If I can help in this matter at all, your senator, please let me know. Senator Jim Forsyth. Just for the record, I did meet Senator White. We appeared together in the Ron Paul commercial. And while filming that commercial, I did have the opportunity to meet Mr. White. This is just the first page of some of the lawsuits that went on in the 2007, 8, 9, 10 timeframe, listing my address as 558 Edgewater Drive. Again, the legal documents were stolen from my mailbox on Governor's Island, so I made sure that all of the legal documents were sent to Bedford. This is just a small sampling of my appearances at public meetings here in the town of Guilford. The 2010 deliberative session where I sponsored a petition warrant article to end involuntary lot merging and reverse involuntary lot merging. That is from the 2010 deliberative session. This is a small sampling of my dealings with the Guilford Planning Board. This is meeting minutes from October 5th, 2009, showing my attendance at that meeting and what I talked about. This is another planning board meeting minutes, September 2nd, 2008, talking about my trying to convince the Guilford Planning Board to end involuntary lot merging. This is from the 2012 deliberative session here in the town of Guilford, where I sponsored several petition warrant articles and ran for the budget committee. And as you can see, I put out where my name is, where I spoke at the meeting, and certainly participated in the democratic process here in the town. This is from one of the links I sent you. The Live Free or Die Alliance is a set up by actually Mr. Paul Montrone, who is a prominent member of the Democratic Party here in the state of New Hampshire. Mr. Montrone and I worked closely on revisions to the Shoreline Protection Act, and I am a member of the Live Free or Die Alliance, and here shows my profile with my domicile in Guilford, New Hampshire. This is I sit on the board of directors of the New Hampshire Shoreland and Property Rights Guardians. This has been in place since about 2008. Again, this is with my colleague, Mr. Montrone. He asked me to be on the board of directors, and you can see my domicile is listed as Guilford. This is a printout from a website showing an event that I hosted at my domicile in Guilford, New Hampshire, where I host Dr. Ron Paul as I participate in the democratic process here in the town of Guilford. This is a printout from a blog I guess it's a forum. It's the nhliberty.org. I am a lifetime member of the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance. This was put out in 2010, where I post on this forum about involuntary lot merging and list my domicile as Guilford, New Hampshire. Now, I also sent you some links to some YouTube videos. We can get those YouTube videos. I'd have to put them on a USB thumb. I can get them for you. However, those videos are copyrighted protected, as they are owned by Mr. Murphy. So I'd like to submit into the public record Mr. Murphy's statement. Dear Barbara, it is my understanding that you're defending yourself against a baseless and scurrilous charge that you are not domiciled in Guilford, New Hampshire for voting purposes. In fact, this charge was made by a left-wing ideologue named Mr. Joe Wernig of Guilford in an attempt to deny you a spot on the Guilford ballot this past election day. This is no less an attempt to copycat what now President Barack Hussein Obama did in Chicago to win his first Illinois State Senate seat. You are asking to use in your defense against this charge materials that are copyrighted by Granite Rock. As the co-founder and owner of Granite Rock, as well as being a person who shot the video, I hereby give you permission to use any of the videos located in Granite Rock channel and on YouTube and any related Granite Rock posts in creating as many DVDs as needed to support your case before the Guilford, New Hampshire supervisors of the checklist. Further, I should be there in person to authenticate this email. Kindest regards, Skip Murphy. So I can try to get those from Mr. Murphy and put them on a USB thumb. What the videos show is me participating in the democratic process here in the town of Guilford, holding political events at my home in Guilford. In addition, this is some of my volunteer work. This is printed from the Winnipesaukee Forum, where I coached 2 tennis teams. I coached in 2010 and 2011. 2010 we only had 1 team, and in 2011 we had 2 teams. Coaching with me was my daughter, Lindsay Eichinger, who is also a voting resident here in the town of Guilford. This was taken off the Winnipesaukee Forum. It was also published in the Laconia Daily Sun. And it's just more evidence that I volunteer here. This is my domicile. So now I have here some of the numerous articles that I have written, or letters to the editor in the Laconia Daily Sun. I won't give you all of them. I just printed a couple out. This was where I talk about the result of the involuntary lot merging vote and how I'm extremely happy. And that my first call was to Helen Graham, an 86-year-old property owner who had her property rights taken away from her. And of course now Helen Graham can sell her property. She's 86 years old. This is a news article. I only printed out the page of the news article that mentions me. And it was produced on a news type website. And it is about Senator Manusu from, Representative Manusu from Derry, and Senator Forsythe, who is our senator. And Mr. Forsythe says, bringing 2 bills together that protect the rights of New Hampshire citizens is the job of the Senate. And I'm proud to have worked on both these property rights initiatives this year with Representative Manus and other sponsors, as well as some instrumental citizen activists such as Barb Part2 of Guilford, said Senator Jim Forsythe, Republican, Stratford. So this is showing that my domicile is Guilford. Here is another news article. I was interviewed in Meredith at a Ron Paul campaign stop, and this article was produced by the Texas Tribune. And what I say here, Barbara Eichinger, an electrical engineer and independent voter from nearby town of Guilford, said she was wooed by Paul's message to her 23-year-old son. She said she plans to vote for Paul because of his early warnings about the war in Iraq and the debt crisis turned out to be true. So there is a news article interviewing me. This is another Laconia Daily Sun editorial. There are lots of them. This is where I talk about the public sector high salaries and benefits. This is another editorial that I wrote concerning Dr. Paul, where I list my domicile as Guilford. This one appears in the Concord Monitor. This last is a record where I can show you. This is a non-credit card contribution, political contribution to Mr. Stevens when he ran for governor. So you can see listed as Guilford. Okay, so last but not least, I have my notarized DMV record. to whom it may concern, this is to verify that Barbara Eichinger, that's my birth date, was my license. Mrs. Eichinger was originally issued a New Hampshire license on April 3rd of 1995. She changed her legal address on September 11th, 2008 to 558 Edgewater Drive. And then I applied again to get it printed on my driver's license because in the state of New Hampshire, up until recently, they would only put your mailing address on your driver's license. They wouldn't put your legal address on the driver's license. Here's the original DMV record, notarized. I would like this back. It has a lot of personal information on it.
I'm sorry, could you just repeat what you just said about what they used to do and what they do now?
In the state of New Hampshire, they will only print, or they used to only print your mailing address on your driver's license. And that became an issue for a lot of people, including myself, so that's why I pulled this record. And in 2011, they passed a law to force the DMV to print your legal address also on your driver's license.
You said your mailing address.
Yeah, they will print your mailing address and your legal address on the driver's license starting in 2011. But prior to that, they would only print your mailing address on your driver's license. And so that's why I went and pulled the original record to show that I changed it at the DMV. And it is notarized.
Do you want to see this one?
Okay, so now I would like to read my written statement, which I will provide you copies of.
Barbara, can I ask a question? On this document, you mentioned it's got personal information. Would you be willing to redact the personal information and provide a copy of that? I mean, obviously the information that's important to supervisors is what's listed as your address.
Yes, I can take some of this.
I think that would be very helpful to have. Thanks.
Croc TV.